sustainability and tourism, should really go hand in hand. And we said there's a possibility, again, data can play a big role.
So Sriram, I want to ask you the stakeholders of the user, be the developers, the government officials. What are the other players or sectors who are directly engaging with you to improve their efficiency, to improve their sustainable programs? So how is it going in that line?
Yeah, it's a good question because sustainability is now buzzword in this year, especially 2022, in various sectors. More so, built environment is beginning to understand the importance of it. The number of times we have got a call this quarter on ESG, can you help us on ESG, was fascinating. So now we're adding ESG automation into the platform. But so the stakeholders, right, stepping back, so we kind of broadly break it into two. We call the greenfield, which is at the design stage. Builder just has identified parcel of land and they want to build whatever, right? So the builder, the architect, the consultants become key players in this, and then we have empowered them on the platform. Now the brownfield, while it's not technically accurate in terms of the industry, but what we call as brownfield is existing buildings, commercial. Right now, for example, a law firm has come and said, "Can you give us a carbon neutrality roadmap?" A law firm. We have Swiggy again talking to us. We work with Swiggy sometimes. All these kind of players start understanding that we need to do something. And the good news is this: pre-2019, 2020, I would say, I always would need to answer two questions. I would need to tell people that what is the problem, climate change? What is your industry adding to it? And how is that the problem of climate change impacting your industry? That's the first question I need to explain. And then the second one would be, okay, now that you've got that, what can we do for you? How can we help you? The fascinating thing is since 19 onwards, the first part is taking care of folks who come and knock on the door. Swiggy is a great example of somebody who came and knocked on the door saying, we know why we need you. Can you help us? And now builders are also saying that. We work with, you said government, right? We work with the Karnataka Tourism Ministry. Now they have come and said, actually we had a chance to be the minister at that time, and we said, sustainability and tourism, should really go hand in hand. And we said there is a possibility, again, data can play a big role. While we didn't automate that at that point of time, what we did tell them is, data will help us understand where is the Karnataka state in terms of hotels and restaurants, and can we benchmark this? And so Karnataka is the first state in the country today to have a benchmark to say, how can we measure and assess sustainability for our hospitality system? And then, based on the benchmark, if you're below that, how can we take you above? And if you're above, what kind of a ranking rating in the government? That benchmarking has been approved by the ministry. We created it last year. We have a policy, in the policy of tourism policy for these 5 years. There are 2 pages created for sustainability. So government has also acted. How fast is another discussion in itself, but all these players have come in. And this year, again, back to the tech part, right? This year, pretty much everybody is asking us, is there a technology to help us do this? Whether it is the hospitality sector, whether it is the construction sector. The other key part which has stood out, which seems to really drive, other than the ESG which I told earlier, is a vetted, dependable one source for solutions and materials. So we are sticking our head out and we are saying that today I can tell you why you should not use granite or you should not use marble, whereas you should use certain kind of tile, and what tile, why, with an environmental impact or a life cycle assessment where we could do that. That kind of a database which can tell you what it is. So if you say I have a 2,000 square feet house and I need to make it sustainable, we can today tell you that what kind of windows, what kind of doors, what kind of paints, what flooring options, what kind of brick if you're constructing the place still, right? And what design will work. That material database, that dependable materials and other things people are asking. These are some of the things people are asking. So there's a maturity where they're asking specific things. Earlier, pre-2019, 2020, they're like, I heard about this, I don't know what I should do. And so I'm really talking to them saying, you're a law firm, you should do this. You're a food aggregator, you should do that. Or you're a builder, you should do Z, right? Now I don't have to ask you. So that's a nice quantum leap. And it shows we've had one of the best quarters ever in Spadharma's history, financially and impact.
I think it also makes sense because we've been seeing a lot of demand from communities and societies.
Yeah.
We've been seeing a lot of demand. For example, we've been seeing societies who have been around for say like 15 years, their rainwater harvesting systems are no longer working, and they want us to, because we are there on the automation side, they want us to provide a digital solution for rainwater harvesting, or they want to measure the amount of water that is used, and water is a scarce natural resource.
Yes.
Right, and because of that, they've been reaching out to us. Even for STP plants, they've been reaching out and saying, like, can you help us? Connect us with the right audience, because you are our one-stop shop. So therefore, we work with several players on rainwater harvesting or STP, or even on water metering, what prepaid meters. So all of that, right? And there is a natural demand which we are seeing that right now, both from new to born societies which have just been handed over from the developer side, or societies which have been around for like 10-15 years and their existing systems are no longer working, or they want to get upgraded. And this is happening from a large consumer push, because I think one, realization has stepped in. Two, and going back to the point on water, I mean, you see these water tankers jet setting across cities, right? And you don't know what's the quality of water which is there in that. So people are getting self-conscious as to, can we, one, bring down the level of these tankers, two, what's the quality of water which is in these tankers. And so therefore, there is a large requirement for platforms such as yours, in which you can connect with the hinterland of 100,000 communities which are there.
And what, I'm glad you brought up the tank. So one of the things we tell them at design phase, we say that if you do these things, these 7, 8, 10, for water we have, let's say 10, right, solutions in the right way and the right size, we are tangibly saying you would be using X number of tankers lesser than a non-sustainable builder or a community right next to yours. It's the same with commercial. Yeah. And the other thing to your rainwater pointed, why older buildings are asking, and this is, I would love your audience to ask us more, I'd be happy to answer, is, Bangalore city actually is not rain parched at all. It's not like a Hyderabad or other cities where you're rain parched. Bangalore, it rains well. And so we have a nice publicly available algorithm built by one of the water experts in Bangalore, which everybody in this space use. Now that has been created with the rainwater patterns a few years ago, which says that rain would fall across about a 60-day period. You have a quantum of water, and you plan your consumption based on that. Which means what? You tank sizing, piping, where the tank is residing, etc., is dependent. Design is dependent on that data. Now, what's happened in the last 4 years? A very, very tangible climate change impact is that 60 days started shrinking. It's at 20, it's at 15. So, what is the consequence? An older building which is built with a 60-day time period, the tank size is X. Now, X is not sufficient when the volume of water is double the size, because if it's coming to 20 days, it's triple. That's why roads are more flooded. That's why this existing infrastructure doesn't work. So now you have to go double it. So recently we worked with a builder, one of the prominent builders in Bangalore, where when we showed this, they were very passionate about it. They went 2.5 times the current size which was mandated by the government. So the conscious guys are realizing that, because they have a name to keep. They don't want to have 5 years from now photos in social media saying this ex-builder's community is flooded, right? Yeah. So they're going 2.5x. We used to struggle to sell 1.25. 2.5 is now, people are saying, yeah, let's put that extra capex into it. So the importance of those design intervention, the idea that this is going to make it, is now coming up. People are, it's staring in their face, right?
There's also capacity, also capacity increase, like you're saying. I mean, that's required in these older communities, and so we are actually connecting a lot of such platforms to the communities directly.
Right.
And whether it's rainwater, whether it's STP, whether it's water metering.
So are you exclusive working with anyone, or are you open to?
We're open. We're actually open. So we're not exclusive to any particular vendor, because we want the society and the community to benefit, right? And that's not really a monetization lever for us, right? But at the end of the day, it actually helps the community, it helps the society, it helps them meet their ESG goals, and it helps the environment as a whole.
Definitely.
Yeah, and on the goals, I want to also say, now the bigger guys are beginning to have their own ESG goals, right? Their Godrej would say 2032 we want to be net neutral. Mahindra will say 2030 we want to be scope and net neutral. Now, these are fascinating goals, and that's only set by the top 10 guys. I wouldn't even say 10. We've spoken to all the leading guys in the last 2 months. The top 4 have done it. The rest are scrambling to figure out what. Again, that's a great driver. That's a great driver to say we need to do something this way. So it's moving from we need to do something to saying, I think this is where we are, this is what we should do. Can you tell us now what it specifically? So that's a maturity of a fantastic level.
Yeah, great.